All right, everybody. Joining me now from Nashville, Allison Hatfield. How are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Singer-songwriter Allison Hatfield.
That's correct.
So, talk about like your origin story with music. How did you start?
Yeah, so my origin story is well, I was born and raised in Nashville, Tennessee. So, music was definitely something I was exposed to at a very young age. My dad was a musician, so he moved out here before I was born to pursue his music. And I just kind of grew up with, guitars and pianos and stuff all around me. And um, really, when I was 4 years old, I wrote my first song and just kind of always knew that I didn't want to just play music, but I also wanted to write music and wanted to write, poems and stories and
Hmm.
books. It wasn't just music driven. I knew writing was something I was really passionate about. So, yeah, that was kind of how it began.
Yeah, I get artists all the time that were like that feel the same way, but then I'll get some artists that are more into like the performing, singing. So you like both, right? So which if you had to pick one, no pressure. Do you like the process before, or do you actually or like you know what I'm saying? I assume you like both, but like which one do you get the most like throw out of? Like the before or the kind of during?
Um, Definitely the before. If I had to choose between writing and performing, I would choose writing any day.
Nice.
I do,
Yeah.
I do love to perform, but writing is definitely my number one passion, and I find myself consistently, wanting to sit and write, and yeah, I'm more drawn to that.
Would you want to be like an author one day? Like write
I
a book?
definitely, I've definitely started writing books. I have like, beginnings of books and things like that, but I haven't really taken it too far yet.
Not
Right
yet.
now,
Not
not
yet.
yet. But yeah, but maybe. I mean, I've had a poem published in a book one time, but that's kind of the extent of that.
Yeah. Well, you never know. It's never too late.
That's true.
It's true. So talk about like what kind of music for those that have been living under a rock and don't know. What kind of music do you sing?
Yeah, so I have a lot of influences. Of course, being from Nashville, I do have a country influence. So I do have some music that's geared more towards country. But I do also have a lot of influence from rock, classic or alternative, and pop, jazz, a lot of that. So I have a lot of music that molds or melds together, I guess, all of those different genres to make something
Hmm.
that's a little bit country pop rock. So I kind of fluctuate a little bit.
Yeah. So where did you get your start? Like talk about where like your first performances were, like talk about like the very beginning when you first like started performing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I started performing and I was really little, doing different, choir performances. I was in musicals since I was a little girl. So as far as, being on a stage, that started probably when I was 4 or 5. So it was always something I enjoyed doing. But as far as, taking it into my hands as a career, I moved to North Carolina for about 5 years. I moved in 2020 and I ended up going to Raleigh, and I started playing a lot more as far as gigs go. That was really when I started to learn how to kind of do solo gigs, playing piano, guitar, and doing cover gigs, things like that. So, really, that was when I started to step more into the performance life, and doing it full time.
Yeah, so what was your first like single?
My very first single, um, so I actually released an EP before I ever released a single, which
Yeah,
was which is a little bit, a little brave.
that's interesting.
But yeah,
Talk about that. What's the name of it? Talk about that.
so my very first EP is called Songs of Hope. I actually released it during COVID, so a lot of it was very focused on like trying to give people something to hope for during a really difficult time. And it's actually funny because I was not planning on going into music, and then I met my producer, and we just got to talking. We became friends, and he really actually pushed me to release my music because he's like, you have a real lot of really good stuff. You really should do something with this. And so we put our heads together and released my first EP during COVID. And from there I was hooked. I was like, I gotta keep doing this.
Yeah.
Parties,
You're kind of
weddings.
past the open mics part now, right? You're past that.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, I still do open mics for fun and
Really?
to meet. Oh yeah, for sure. It depends on the place.
Oh, that was my cat, by the way. It just
Oh
she just
no.
she just jumped right through the Zoom.
That's hilarious. He's like,
No.
I'm part of it.
Yeah, podcast. Rare. Yeah, go ahead with your saying.
Yeah, so I'll still go to open mics to meet new people, to meet venue owners, things like that, just to expose myself and because I love it. I love doing music, even though it's what I do full time. I honestly can't get enough of it. So, it never bothers me to stop in and play at an open mic just for fun. So.
Yeah. That's cool. So do you have a route? Like, do you stay in Nashville? Like, where do you perform, or do you go outside?
So, yeah, I actually do a lot of touring. Right now, as far as Nashville goes, like I have a gig at Kittenish on Sunday. So, lots of random places, it's a clothing store, so you kind of never know. I just played at Margaritaville last
Oh
week.
yeah, of course.
So, that's a fun one.
Yeah.
I
All right.
do
I gotta get my
alley
cat
taps.
out. Hold on. I gotta get
You're
my
good.
cat out of the way. Go. I can edit. The power of editing. Power of editing. Go.
North Carolina,
Mhm.
Virginia,
Where in
all
Virginia?
kinds of
Because I
spots.
used I used to live there.
Oh, cool. We played in Virginia Beach.
Okay,
So,
I lived in Richmond. That's not that
oh,
far.
okay. Not too bad. Yeah, we definitely want to start breaking into Virginia or to Richmond a little bit because we have some friends out there. So,
Come down to Florida. I know
yeah.
Yeah, Florida gets a lot of people like, but Florida, there's some good musicians in Florida. It
Yeah.
happens.
I have
Uh,
family out there, so they've been trying to get me to do a Florida tour.
oh yeah, you do it. I'll make the John. It depends. Now if it's like it depends. If anything less than I don't want to go like but I'll do it. Like go all the way down to Miami, make a party, go to your whatever.
There you go. What part
Yeah.
of Florida are you in?
I'm on Pensacola, the Panhandle, right
Okay.
by Alabama.
Yep. Okay,
And
cool. That's not bad.
yeah, Pensacola Beach. We get some like people like I don't know if you know Dashboard Confessional. It's like a 2000s kind of rock band. But we
No.
get some people that we get some decent artists that come down, but
Okay, cool.
what I don't understand about, not to get on a soapbox, but as I get on a soapbox, our fees are kind of higher than what we really like. We kind of price ourselves out, the city does, kind of the
hmm
venue.
Yep.
So that's kind of a thing where it's like Pensacola would get bigger names, but they price out.
Yeah, that makes it hard sometimes. A lot of cities do that too.
Explain what like do you know what that is? Can you talk about like that? So the costs are so how does that usually work if they like so they high cost, right? And then the artist chooses, hey, that's too much.
So it really de it depends. So and every place is different. So with the way that my boyfriend and I do our bookings, things like that, we don't have a manager or anything like that. So we actually do all our own bookings. So we're actually talking to the venue ourselves. And some venues, they're like, hey, we're like, this is our asking price. This is what we want guarantee. And then you have venues like that are more ticket based, where it's like, okay, you must sell X amount of tickets and this is what you'll take home. So then you don't
Yeah.
really know what you're going to end up taking. So some venues are like, hey, this is the ticket price. This is how many tickets you need to sell, and this is how much we need from you in order for you to be here. So a lot of Florida places I've actually noticed do that where it's like, hey, we're going to take X amount of money from your ticket sales and this is how much you get.
Yeah. So
So,
basically it's saying you better be good, otherwise
yeah. Right. You better sell a lot of tickets. So you better know a lot of people in this area or, have a lot of fans in this area.
And a lot of people
So,
don't like the pressure of that, like having to like, and they feel like, wait a minute, let me dictate the.
Exactly. It's like we need a guarantee because, we're doing the hard work either way, which is actually why a lot of bands and stuff don't go on tour and are having a hard time going on tour, especially right now, because the costs are so high and they don't have the ability to go and have a show and then actually get paid a decent enough amount so that they can pay for gas and travel and
Hmm.
Airbnbs and all of that. Um, but like I said, the way that we do it, thankfully, it makes it a little bit more profitable because we're going
Hmm.
in saying it's just two of us,
Right.
put on a great show. We're going to go to venue or go to bars and breweries
That's
and
cool.
yacht clubs and stuff like that, private parties, and that you come home with a little bit more revenue because then you're saying this is my guarantee that I'm going to make plus tips, and that's going to cover all the costs. So yeah, it's a little bit more fruitful if you do it that way.
So he's an artist too? You guys
Mhm.
are a duo, or does he do independent stuff too, like solo stuff?
Yep, yeah. So we were both independent artists before we got together. So we wanted to continue to have our own brand and our own
Got it.
songs, our own things like that. So we have our own artist page, and then we also, when a venue needs duos or when we do tour,
Hmm.
it makes more sense for us to go together.
Maybe I'll
So
talk to him. Have him on the podcast.
yeah,
I'll talk to him.
absolutely. Yeah. His name's Ari Papalardo. He's really talented. And for him, especially performing, he's a great performer and is really good at engaging with the crowd and all that
Hmm.
stuff, which has helped me a lot because, when I first started, I was really anxious on stage, as far as like singing my original songs and how do you get the crowd to draw in. And, I've learned a lot about what it looks like to perform and not just, play a song. And it's been really cool. It's been a lot of fun to learn that and to grow in that area.
So speaking of meeting people, Ray Raddick, you told me off air that you guys are friends.
Yeah, yeah, we're really good friends. She's an incredible human being. I adore her. But yeah, my boyfriend met her years ago. She was in North Carolina, which is where he's from, and she played a show. And he met her. They became friends, and he introduced me to her. And we instantly connected. I was
Yeah.
like, yep, we're gonna be friends. I just know it. And we've just stayed in contact even before I moved back to Nashville. Her and I, talk on a fairly regular basis and
Hmm.
got some hangouts planned. Because, we're both touring and traveling a lot, so a lot of our friendship is very virtual.
You should tell her you were on the podcast. She was on the podcast.
Yeah.
For those that listen, she was on the podcast about 3 years ago, I think.
Wow.
20
Oh my gosh.
2022 sounds right. Either
That's
that,
crazy.
either that
Wow.
or like 2023. I believe it was 2022,
Okay.
if I'm
That's
not
so
mistaken.
cool.
Like the
Yeah, I know she
beginning,
was
like
on it.
kind
Yeah.
of the beginning of when I first started.
Okay, cool. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
I've been doing this a while, but not as I was doing it like more consistently then. Like, cause
Mhm.
when you get into anything, it's like now I'm more like selective, like with when
Mhm.
I do it, kind of.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, I remember that. That was crazy. She was awesome.
Yeah.
I posted a reel of that, like a little clip. But yeah, so Blood Red, right? Is this your most recent single?
Yep, so Blood Red was my most recent single, and it's the song that has kind of gotten the most movement. So I think right now, it's at like 6,000 streams, so it's picking up a little bit
Yeah,
more
I've been
than
checking it out. It's
yeah.
awesome. Y'all should check it
Thank
out
you.
for sure. It's really good. So
Thank you so much.
I actually picked a lyric. I do this sometimes.
Oh, cool.
So it was, let's see if I can read my own handwriting. High on adrenaline,
Yeah.
drunk on pain. Is that correct?
Yep.
I want to hear this. Go ahead. Tell me, like, what's going on up there? Like, what caused such the pain? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, so that song is it's funny because a lot of my music is typically drawn from personal experience or from experiences of other people. This is the only song I have that's a completely fictional story. So I've always been a huge muscle car fan and Mustangs, I've always been obsessed with Mustangs and I was just talking about it with my boyfriend one night, and he was like, you should write a song about a muscle car. I was like, okay. So literally the next night, it just hit me. I was like, wouldn't it be funny to have a story about, this girl who goes on a date with this really rich,
Hmm.
high horse guy,
Yeah.
um, and he turns out to be kind of a sleaze bag, and so she just takes his 65 Mustang.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, that's kind of the idea of the song. So with that line, it was kind of trying to set up the story of like this guy, he's high on adrenaline, drunk on pain. So like, he's not a fun guy to be around, but he appears to be because he's got money, he's got a nice car, but yet he's still making you pay. So kind of this idea of this really like, sleazy guy that has this
Hmm.
really nice car, and you're like, well, you don't even know that I'm a car fan and I'm about to take your car because.
Yeah.
So not
Yeah.
that I condone theft, just
No,
saying.
no, 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 no,
This is
no.
not a real story.
But listen, everyone listening knows the video game Grand Theft Auto.
Yes. Oh, I love that video game.
GTA used to run people over and shit like that. Like, well, we're not condoning
We're not condoning this.
murder or anything like that. We're not condoning.
Definitely not. No, it's just a funny way to kind of say, everybody has a breakup song or a song that's kind of like, especially in the country world, you have a lot of songs, with Martina and Miranda and, all of Shania, all of these big stars have always had these, like this man screwed me over and this happened as a
Yeah.
result. And, again, I don't want to really condone murder, so I was like, I don't want to
No,
go
we're
as
not
far as singing
condoning
something
it.
like that. So for me, it was kind of like this is kind of
Right.
a silly way to
Hmm.
say, hey, don't mess with me because I can handle myself. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's just kind of a silly song that I was really fun to write. Took me about 30 minutes, and it just kind of it flowed
30
out.
minutes?
Yeah, yeah.
Dang, that's pretty quick.
That I love to write. I mean, most of my songs take between 30 minutes to an hour to write, just kind of depending on the day and depending on how fresh the idea is. But that's kind of the average amount of time for me.
So you're fully like independent, right? You don't do any of the what's the benefits of that?
Well, it depends on the person. So again, for me, I'm a performer and I'm a singer, but I'm a writer first. So writing is
Yeah.
where my full passion is. And you have a lot of artists who, they're learning to write because they want to be able to have, their own songs. So
Hmm.
everybody's in kind of a different camp. For me, because writing comes naturally to me, it's actually a little harder for me sometimes to co-write. But there is a benefit in co-writing because they can see your blind spots. So, I actually did a co-write with my roommate, boyfriend, and one of our friends recently, and it was awesome. We wrote an amazing song, and if I was sitting there writing it by myself, sure, it would be great, but it's like you level up a little bit when you have another ear, another voice.
Hmm.
And especially for me, I play piano and guitar, but I have blind spots with, certain chords and things like that that I don't know how
Right.
to play on guitar. So having somebody else helps you level up a little bit and make the song go from, great to wonderful.
Of course. So do you have any like fun stories or any stories you can share about either performing or in the studio or anything like that? Any stories you can share?
Yeah, I mean, I have all kinds of stories. I mean, the my favorite stories are the ones when I'm touring, because a lot of times when you're touring, things shift, they change. There's a lot of unexpected that you kind of have to bounce back from. Most recent one is we were on our way to our 2 week tour, and it was a little over 2 weeks, and in New England, this was in October last month.
Mm.
And the very first night, we were literally like driving my new car and hit a deer on the highway. So literally
Wow.
like first night of the tour, and we looked at each other, we checked, made sure the damage wasn't horrible. It gutted the headlight. It definitely was worse than we thought it was going to be. And, we drove the car for a night or two just to check and make sure. And we were like, no, we can do this. And I'm like, this is so rock and roll. Like, it's like,
You
you
drove
know,
you first off after that you were like, let's make sure the car is drivable.
yep, we're like, okay, it's drivable, it's good, nothing bad is happening, it doesn't sound bad. So we're like,
Uh,
we're gonna do it. So we did the whole 2 week tour. The car drove great. But yeah, whole
that's
2 week
funny.
tour, one headlight, and
That's a good story.
it was an experience for sure. But it was fun, and I'm all about, I used to be a very anxious, very, overwhelmed by little things. And
Hmm.
I don't know, just in the last year or so, I've learned a lot about kind of letting things happen and also not being so holding things so tightly that you're like, this has to go exactly how I planned. Because when that
Yeah, I
happens,
know. I understand how that is.
but when it happens, there's so many moments on the tour where things went differently, a show got canceled, or, the time shifted, or, location changed, different things like that. And every time something happened, something even better came from it.
Hmm.
And, that's kind of my motto in life now is, if you hold on to things so tightly, you don't give them room for something even better to happen. So yeah, it's been really cool, and a lot of great stories come from the unexpected moments of my career.
Yeah. So what's the goal here? Like 5 years down the line.
Yeah, I mean, for me, honestly, I'm pretty content where I'm at, but the biggest thing I want is, again, I am a writer, and I have a lot of songs that I'm probably never going to release because I don't just write for myself. I write songs that maybe don't fit in the genre that I want to go towards.
Hmm.
So my goal is to be writing for other artists as well. Maybe have some publishing deals, sync licensing is something I've been looking into a lot. So my goal is to not just perform and travel and tour, but I also want to be able to, have more exposure for my music itself and allowing my music to be in other places, even if I'm not the one singing it, if that makes sense.
It does make sense, but keep putting out great song after great song. You're awesome. Everyone should check you
Thank
out.
you.
So what are the like? Does it ever get like tiring, like in the studio or writing? Did you ever get tired of, or are you like just you enjoy the entire process and you never get tired of it?
Well, I think I get tired, and I've battled some health issues and things like that. So physically, I experience exhaustion. I have moments where I'm like, "Oh, this is hard," because my body
Yeah.
hurts or XYZ. But emotionally and mentally, I've never been happier. And, a lot of that has to do with, I've worked up until last year. Actually, October was my 1 year anniversary of being a full-time musician, which was really exciting. And up until then, I was working, I was trying every different kind of, desk job or admin job. And, I was good at it. And I knew I could level up in those situations, but I hated it. I was like, I do not want to sit at a desk. I'm a
Nine
creative.
to nine to five, clock in, clock out, you know?
Clock in, clock out, and there was many days where I'm like writing songs like at my
Yeah.
desk. I'm
Mhm.
like, waiting for the phone to ring, but I'm like, all right, this would be a good line, I'm like, I need a space. I need to be out of a space like this so I can do that freely. And so yeah, I mean,
So is
there
this your
are
job? Is this your job now? You're not doing, you don't have another job? This is it? You're
I do
all
not
in?
have I don't have a day job per se. I do teach music 2 days a week at a place called Roots Academy in Franklin, which is an incredible place. I
Shout out to
absolutely
Roots
love
Academy,
it
wherever that.
there.
I'm kidding.
Seriously, like if you need lessons, please go to Roots
Where is
Academy.
this? Franklin,
Franklin, Tennessee. It's
Tennessee, I
about,
would assume. Yeah.
30, 40 minutes from Nashville, depending on what part of Nashville you're in
I
and
get thrown
traffic.
off too because there's also a Franklin, PA, I think. There's
There is.
also
Yep.
so it's like yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it's gotta be interesting.
Yep.
They
So
all
yeah,
want to
so
be
I
the
do that.
next they all want to be the next like Kenny Chesney or whatever, you know.
Yep. Yep. But yeah, no. So as far as, other work goes, I gig, I bake, I sell baked goods, I sell
Oh
coffee,
yeah.
at like markets, but it's always like, random, like, here's for one weekend I'm doing this
Yeah,
or
so fall is your best time of year then. Bake
Mhm.
you know.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm making, if anybody, is looking for good Christmas gifts, I'm making,
Oh, there you
you
go.
know, little gift bag, treat bags and stuff for
Mm.
sale.
Well,
So I
the
do
goal
stuff
is
like
for you
that.
to be a writer for, some big shot.
That'd be cool.
Or you be on The Voice. Would you do that?
I have auditioned for The Voice a few times, actually, um, 3 or 4 times, and each time I've gotten fairly far. My only thing about stuff like that, and I want to be careful what I say, of course, but once you get past a certain point, there's questionnaires and interviews, and they want to know a lot about your life story and your backstory, and I just feel like I want to have a little bit more control over what is shared about my story. And also, I don't want to just share my whole story with the whole world. I want to be able to
Hmm.
have moments with people where I share parts of my story. And so with shows like that, a lot of times they want a sob story and they want something that can really draw audiences in, which makes sense because it's a reality TV show. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, so when you have stuff like that that gives you your start, it can be great and it can really help a lot of artists, but they also have a little bit more control over, you know, where your music goes and what direction you go in than if
Hmm.
you're an independent artist, you can kind of make your own path.
Yeah, I don't think you're saying anything that people don't think about on a daily basis. I think you're fine.
Most people know this about about these TV shows. So,
Yeah.
it works for some people, but for me personally, after, I did America's Got Talent,
Oh
you know,
yeah?
yeah, several of them that I auditioned for.
Auditions or have you made the actual show on any?
No, I didn't make the actual show on any of them. And again, a lot of it was because, they
Oh,
had
what
these
we talked
intense
about. Yeah.
questionnaires,
Yeah,
yeah, and
yeah,
I
yeah.
was like, I am not going to answer
What
these.
about
So,
what is it? There's The Voice, there's AGT and Idol.
yeah,
That one
American.
too. You talked to them too?
I didn't do American Idol, but I've had a lot of friends. Actually, my boyfriend auditioned for them too, and there's also
Really? It's
there's
like a
also
big
quite
circle.
quite a
I
process.
feel like those reality shows are a big community in itself. Like, do
It
they all
is.
borrow
Yeah.
from the same like pool of people? It seems like.
Yeah, they have a bit of a process, a bit of a way that they do it so that they can make sure they have a variety of people on there. Because again, it's a reality show, so
Yeah.
they want to make sure that it's going to be what they want it to
Right.
be.
I like The Voice
Because
though, but
the
yeah.
voice is cool. No, I mean, and I enjoy
No, I'm
watching
just
it.
saying like the actual concept behind it.
Right. Yeah, because when you audition with the producers of the show. You don't
Yeah, yeah,
audition
yeah.
with the judges, right? So you're auditioning with the producers of the show, so
So
they're
it's
kind of
legit
gonna
the first
determine.
time that they've heard these people. That's legit. That's not fake. The first time
No,
they
that's
hear 'em.
that is real. Yeah. You audition with producers and stuff before you actually
That
get to that point.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like they know the names and they've probably done a Google search on the person, I would assume before, but
Likely. They likely know what they look like, but yeah, probably haven't actually heard them sing yet. So
that's interesting. Um, Allison, what do you have coming up? What are some projects in the works?
yeah, so like I said, I have a show on Sunday. We actually have a full band as well. We're working on getting into a circuit here in on Broadway, so that's hopefully something we're gonna do just for some extra income. And yeah, my next release is hopefully gonna be in the next several months, maybe early next year. But I'm working on a single. It's called Monster in My Mind. And
Nice.
it's kind of a fun, fun upbeat song, but it talks about anxiety. So you've got, a bit of a way to digest something that's kind of a deep idea, but in kind of a fun way. So, so yeah, it's called Monster in My Mind, and it's one of my favorite songs I've ever written. And every time I play it out, people seem to really enjoy it, and a lot of people have been asking me to release it. So
Yeah.
I talked to my producer the other day, and we're excited about getting started on it soon.
All right. Well, thank you so much for doing this and being understanding. I
Of
appreciate
course,
that. I
absolutely.
appreciate that. Yeah, it's been wild. I've spoke a little bit off air. I'm actually, and those that listen to my podcast know I'm in social work, so it's
Okay.
it's been wild lately. But I'll leave it at that. I'll leave it at that.
Yep. Yep.
Thank you again for your time, and yeah, have him come on the podcast. I'll talk to him. But
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
thank you, and all the best. Okay.
Thank you so much. You as well. I really
All
appreciate
right.
you having me on.
No problem. All right. Thank you. All right, bye.
Bye-bye.